graphic material, including offensive language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Now, the presence of the devil is a modern gloss applied on top of these ancient texts. The talking serpent in the Garden of Eden certainly causes a lot of trouble, but nowhere in Genesis is it explicitly linked to Satan. In fact, at the time that the text was written, there was no concept of a single powerful adversary opposing God. In short, the devil didn't exist yet. Then there's the story of Job, the man beleaguered by tragedy after he's caught in a divine tug of war between good and evil. The text does make it clear that God wants to test Job's faith, but Satan isn't there as some sort of divine betting partner. Instead, the figure referred to as Satan is more accurately translated as adversary. Basically, the Satan of this story is kind of like a prosecuting attorney who's attempting to prove that Job and the rest of humanity are fundamentally flawed, and that being is very much in God's employ. The classic image of the devil consists of horns, a pointy tail, cloven hooves, and red skin. And as it turns out, that frightening image arose in the Middle Ages. Before then, the arch-evildoer looked very, very different. Consider the Satan in a 6th century mosaic in the Basilica of Santa Apollinare Nuovo in Ravenna, Italy, which is typically considered the first ever depiction of the devil. In one section of the mosaic, Jesus is seen sorting out the righteous and the sinners at the Last Judgment, represented by sheep and goats respectively. Each flock is overseen by an angel. To Christ's right are the good sheep and a red angel. To the left behind the goats is a blue-clad
That's our shit too. Stop motherfucker playing, talking about who motherfucker took what, bitch. So all you do is steal motherfucking crabs. Oh, y'all a bunch of criminals. What? Gangsters, wanksters, studio flunkies, junkies, monkeys, stupid ass, backbiters, backpinchers. Oh yeah, get off me, bitch. Get off. I'm stepping on crabs. Bitch. What? Google me, alright. Let's go. Yeah. I don't give a fuck if you like, you gonna respect the dog.
Get over here!
In one section of the mosaic, Jesus is seen sorting out the righteous and the sinners at the Last Judgment, represented by sheep and goats respectively. Each flock is overseen by an angel. To Christ's right are the good sheep and a red angel. To the left behind the goats is a blue-clad angel who's apparently in charge of the evildoers, perhaps getting ready to herd them off to hell. But this blue Satan doesn't have horns or a tail. Instead, he seems just as much like the angel to Christ's right, complete with a halo, wings, and a beatific expression. Is he Satan at all? Perhaps so, at least as a heavenly functionary, but this is quite far removed from our modern understanding of the devil.
Could it be Satan?
So if the earliest depictions of the devil show him as an angel, how did we get to the horned and hoofed creature of today? That may be thanks in part to early Christian leaders who wanted to make the old pagan gods look more demonic and attempt to bolster their own religion by contrast. Consider Bes, the ancient Egyptian protective deity whose admittedly ugly face can be seen on all manner of pre-Bible artifacts. Bes was originally depicted as a short, grotesque figure whose image was meant to scare off things like childbirth complications, while also representing good times like partying, music, and booze. As a result, Bes shows up seemingly everywhere, including eating utensils, beds, temple buildings, makeup jars, and amulets. Eventually, as Christianity grew and began to set down roots in Egypt, Bes seems to have been linked up with the traditional devil imagery. It may be no mistake that the early images of the devil were blue, and many pagan amulets were finished with a blue glaze. And it wasn't just Bes who may have served as demonic inspiration. Over in areas with Greek and Roman influences, the half-goat, half-human nature god known as Pan may have lent his horns and general animalistic look to the Christian devil as well. Tales of the fallen angel known as Lucifer are often directly linked to the devil. As most versions of the tale go, Lucifer was a beautiful, perfect member of the heavenly host who decided to rebel against God. Inevitably, God finds out, and Lucifer and his cronies are cast out of heaven and into the underworld. If you look in the Bible, the book of Isaiah mentions Lucifer, although it depends on the translation you're using. In the King James Version, Isaiah 14:12 reads, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?" But Lucifer is likely a description better translated as morning star, and it may have been in reference to a human ruler or a non-Christian god rather than Satan himself. John Milton's 1667 epic poem Paradise Lost also has a lot to do with connecting Lucifer and Satan in the modern imagination, as it is painted the fallen adversary as a sort of romantic anti-hero. In modern Western depictions, Satan is usually red, which is now a color commonly associated with hellfire and demons, but that wasn't always so. The depiction of Satan in a 6th century Italian mosaic shows him in blue, while other medieval artworks also feature a very blue devil in the midst of hellish scenes. Meanwhile, in European folklore tradition, Satan and his minions are associated with a rainbow of colors, from black to green to yellow. Even Tituba, the enslaved woman whose testimony helped kick off the panic of the Salem witch trials in 1692 Massachusetts, referred to devilish creatures that were red, yellow, and black, accompanied by a white-haired man ominously dressed in black. The completely red devil doesn't appear to have come along until later, with Satan making his debut in red tights during the mid-19th century. That popular depiction may have its roots in the Charles Gounod opera Faust, in which the diabolical Mephistopheles character belted out his songs while wearing red tights. If the devil wasn't around since the beginning of Judeo-Christian tradition, then where did he come from? It may have something to do with the diaspora of Jewish people living in Babylonia. That's where they came into contact with Zoroastrianism, one of the oldest monotheistic faiths in history. The tenets of the ancient Persian religion include a belief in the single God, Ahura Mazda, as well as the idea of divine judgments and separate afterlives for good and evil people. Ahura Mazda has an evil nemesis known as Ahriman, who keeps busy causing trouble for humans. It's very possible that Ahriman set the stage for Satan in both Judaism and Christianity. But essentially, the basic nature of God, as determined by many religious groups, makes the existence of evil a serious problem. According to the problem of evil, if God is supposed to be entirely good and just, then who's causing all the evil in the world? If it's God, then that spoils the idea of God's inherent righteousness. A devil may fill that role, but his existence independent of God also potentially damages the image of an all-powerful deity. One of the most seismic shifts in Christian history is the schism that resulted in a breakaway group of believers collectively known as the Protestants. Departing from hundreds of years of tradition, Protestant figures such as Martin Luther led the way to a new and distinctly different way of believing. This included changing Satan. For one thing, Protestants found the devil to be a useful marketing tool. It wasn't quite so crass as later efforts to use Satan as a mascot for deviled ham products.
Underwood deviled ham.
My mom makes great sandwiches. This one's deviled ham.
But some Protestants did use the devil's frightening image in an attempt to bring people over to their side. If the devil was part of the Catholic Church, wouldn't you want to jump ship and join the Protestant side? Even Daniel Defoe, the 18th century author of Robinson Crusoe, got in on the Protestant deployment of the devil with his 1726 polemic, The Political History of the Devil. Defoe was a Protestant dissenter who used his work to further his own views and to sully the name of the Catholic Church. It's easy to understand how a darkly compelling character like the devil could become the object of worship among people who are drawn to rebellious figures. Who embodies that more than the modern Satan, who's often portrayed as an anti-hero willing to stand up to God? But devil worship has been around for far longer than the swooning romantic era Lucifer. In fact, even medieval people were known to occasionally worship the devil, according to some accounts. It appears that a lingering combination of old pagan beliefs combined with some fear of breakaway sects like the Gnostics meant that church leaders were sometimes frantically worried about devil worshippers in their midst. More overt satanic worship came to the fore in the 20th century with the rise of Aleister Crowley, though his use of devilish imagery was more symbolic and also likely meant to shock more conventional people. Then in the 50s and 60s, showman and musician Anton LaVey turned his occult workshops into the Church of Satan. 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 It's very possible that LaVey was more interested in the spectacle than genuine belief, but his church nevertheless gained wide popularity and may have led directly into the satanic panic hysteria of the 80s and 90s. As a figure who represents ultimate evil, it's no wonder that the devil has been co-opted as a political tool.
All right, welcome back. So, it's the dog. What do y'all think about, the devil, the original depiction of the devil actually being blue instead of being red? And I've always talked about this. I've talked about this in churches. The church I grew up in, I talked about it. And the thing was, in church, they would try to turn these type of conversations down like it wasn't important. And I was like, but it is though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why aren't we being taught about the particular hues or the contrast into which the devil is being portrayed to us? And why aren't we correcting those notions? Because once you change the devil into this big red character, just like the Kool-Aid man, right? Kool-Aid, right? Everything big and red is lovable. You know what I'm saying? Red hearts. Red just invokes not only strength and fear and fire, and it strokes love and passion. However, blue, what does blue strike off of my mind? Death, loneliness, despair. Not until you get into like the violet aspect of blue, or the royal blue, do you start to feel this type of energy falling from the blue. You know what I'm saying? Or coming from the blue, like this type of thing where it stimulates a different sensation in you that is not, dark, cold, vacant, mortis or mortus. Because what happens to your body when it dies? Your body turns blue. Have you ever seen a corpse? Corpses turn blue. Okay, so blue is heavily representative in death and hell. Hell isn't hot. In my mind, the place after death is very cold. It's not hot. So when you think about heat, you're getting this sensation of you wanting to actually be there. I'm telling you, hell sounds lit. For a lot of people, most people think hell is the most littest place to go to. They're tired of being here and they think hell is better. They'll be like, man, fuck that. I'd rather go to Tartarus, go to the lake of fire expediently, because they think hell's hot. Hell ain't hot, bro. Hell is cold. That's what I'm saying. And there's a blue devil waiting for your ass. Just saying, don't get caught up playing with the devils. And just FYI, any Crip niggas with the blue devils tatted on y'all, it's probably not going to be a good day for you in life if you're not already dead. Because when I see blue devil tattoos, when I see niggas walking around, when I used to see Crips wearing Duke, oh, that shit used to infuriate me. I think Duke merchandise and Crips specifically wearing Dukes, it's almost like wearing British Knights. Even though I'm not tripping nowadays, but back in the day, if you seen a Crip wearing Duke, it was an automatic go. Like any demonic devil worshiping ass crab shit, I'll fuck around and try to kill your ass. As a child, I'll fuck around and try to kill you because I know you was gonna try to kill me. Like any of that demonic shit, it wasn't as prevalent and as in your face as it was here in Minnesota, that it was like in other places of the world. But we knew about it because I grew up around it. A lot of the other motherfuckers, were going to jail, going in and out of prison. Like a lot of psychopaths, a lot of the real killers from the other side were just going into prison and shit. And a lot of the war, you know what I'm saying? Like I came in at like the very end of our most heightened war between us in the 20s, in the 10s, in the 40s, because we was warring with everybody. So make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what y'all think about this. Maybe you didn't know about that. Maybe you've always thought that the devil was this big red guy, or Satan was this guy all in red. And that's why when I freestyle, I talk about how people think I'm Satan. How when people see me in all red and with the horns and everything, they think I'm Satan. They think I'm a satanic worshiper. I'm not. Okay. I don't ever fuck with satanic worshipers. And I know a lot of them. I grew up with a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? I never pledged myself to the Dark Lord and all this other fuck. No, that's never happened. And actually I've pulled a lot of my homeboys away from that shit because, I grew up, God fearing, and I grew up God body, and I realized at a very young age that I wanted to be possessed by God. And that's what I thought I was doing. That's what I had my intentions on when I grew up in the satanic ass church I was in. Still to this day, the motherfuckers worship Satan. They don't even know it. That's the crazy thing. The majority of people who are in church today don't realize that they serve the devil. They don't realize the motherfucker up there is working for the devil, And some people don't ever know. Most motherfuckers don't know that they worship the devil. It's so crazy, but that's the reality. You know, they either don't know or they do know, and they're keeping quiet about it because, again, incentivized to stay silent. You know, a lot of these churches, majority of your churches are 501c3 churches. And that's a Freemason contract. That means that they get supplement from the government to steer you in a particular way, politically. All right? So, I'm just going to leave that there. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Have y'all ever came into contact with this? Are y'all... I mean, is God still popping in 2021? I mean, everybody seems to be worshiping the devil. That's not... a lot of y'all got me fucked up even insinuating that, but I know that y'all some very pathetic, lame losers. And y'all think I'm a pathetic, lame loser, but that's not the case. You know? So... y'all make sure y'all keep y'all protect your neck, because I'm out here neck hunting. I'm out here like, if you are exposed to the devil worshiper and you are doing some wicked satanic evil doc, little doc, big evil type shit, you out there killing dogs and raping bitches and doing all this other wild shit, you know what I'm saying, to try to get some points from gangbanging or anything like that, you're gonna get what you deserve. Like, I don't think you deserve jail. I don't think anybody should be snitching on you. None of that. Like, I feel like you need to be dealt with expeditiously. Anyways, it's the dog. I'm out.